Hey, the Pavetta rifle. Drop the gun! Oh, shit! I'm hit. I'm okay. I'm okay. But I'm not gonna die.
Welcome to Badges, Bullets, and Blunders. I'm the host, Travis Harless. Today's guest is my good friend, Jake. Jake, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where do you come from? What do you do?
So born and raised here. Kind of talked about it before. Had kind of an eclectic upbringing as far as like where I went to school. Went to school in the far southeast of town. Then kind of moved to the middle, and then finally for high school made it out west to the west side.
Yeah.
After that, spent a little time at the local community college. That didn't really work out. Met my future wife. Decided we were going to have a baby. Without planning at all.
Real young.
Real young. So I was like 21 at the time. And then said, I got to figure it out. And then went back to school to be a respiratory therapist. So did that, was an RT for a little bit, had some various jobs, worked at a medical equipment company, and then got my job where I'm at now. And I've been there for 16 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is it? What is your position now, if you mind?
Yeah, so I am the senior director of contracts and quality performance for a local health insurance company. So that's basically, everybody that goes to the doctor, right? Like you go to your doctor, they look in your ear, they're like, okay, here's your antibiotics, leave. And then they submit a bill to your insurance company, and your insurance company pays them. There's a contract that insurance company has with that doctor's office that says how much it's going to pay. So one of my departments negotiates, executes, does all of those contracts for the health plan that I work for. So we have, I don't know how many contracts, probably 700 or 800 agreements, 4,500 different, doctors, physicians, nurse pracs, DME companies, surgery centers, pharmacies, all of that stuff, 22 hospitals. So do that piece. And then just recently, a couple years ago, got put in charge of a thing called quality performance, which is different than your guys' quality.
Yeah, quality assurance.
Yeah. There's a thing called the National Committee on Quality Assurance that comes out with these preventative care measures. So, vaccines in kids, well child visits, mammograms, chlamydia screenings, all this different preventative care stuff. And they hold plans accountable. The government, the Department of Healthcare Services in California, says you have to perform at a certain level. And it's my job to make sure that our network and members and everything like that are getting that done. So, yeah.
Nice.
It's really boring.
Oh, no.
It could not be any different than
No.
what you guys do.
Well, you and I met through the softball world.
Yes.
Our kids, my oldest kid and your kid were close in age, and shoot, the kids were probably 10-ish, 10, 11. When you and
Yeah,
I
because
met.
I think yours is a little bit older.
Yeah, she's
So
a year
mine
or
was
two older.
probably 9.
Okay.
Because I think it was like you were second year 10s. I think we were first year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the softball thing for 10 years or so.
Yeah, until they graduated.
Until they graduate and then move on. And then after that, just kind of stayed in contact. I forget how we it was the shooting. You started doing some shooting, some competitive shooting.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we linked up a couple of times to kind of do some stuff with the guns and do some shooting and get parts sighted in or whatever.
Little help. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ask people that know what they're doing for help. Find somebody better than you.
Yeah. I know a couple of guys, but yeah, anyway, so then from there, I think at that time I had recently promoted to sergeant, so I was a patrol sergeant, and I can't remember if I hit you up about it or if you asked me or how it came up. I was like, hey, would you want to just come out and we would talk a lot about policing and police
Yeah.
stuff, and it's just said, well, yeah, you want to come out and ride along and see how it goes?
Yeah. The way I remember it is I think we were talking about tacos. Somehow, some way we were texting about tacos. And he's like, I know a spot. And then he tells me where the spot is. And but they don't open until like 6 or whatever. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not really going down there at 6.
Yeah, you can't go there after
that's
dark.
on your own?
Yeah, that's not my place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, and it's not like a restaurant.
No.
To be clear, it's
No, no.
it's a stand in a certain neighborhood in a certain part of town, just in front of a random house. That
No, you gotta shut out their address so that way people go.
oh yeah, well they do have an Instagram. I should shout out their
They
Yeah,
do.
Instagram.
Yeah.
What is it? Tacos.
Tacos El Hueto,
Tacos El Hueto.
Yeah, 29 South King.
29 South King.
shout out.
So shout out. Maybe we'll link them in the description.
Yeah. So sponsor the pod. So you're like, let's go. What do you, I think you sent me a text. It's like, what are you doing Saturday or whatever? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you want to go get some tacos? I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, man, we'll just go right around. We'll get some tacos. And
Yeah.
it was really a taco mission more than,
okay.
a ride along.
Yeah.
But then we rode along.
Okay. And then you ended up doing a bunch of them over the year or two, or however long. it
Yeah.
was.
I think we had a good time. Just
Well, I
learning.
always appreciate your perspective because I've just been in cop world my whole life, and most of the people I interact with are cops too. So like I don't get a lot of outside perspective, and so you had a interesting outsider's view on things, and you would point things out to me that were ridiculous, that didn't appear ridiculous to me on until you had pointed out like
Yeah.
yeah, it's actually a little silly.
Yeah.
this
Like
happened.
the Willows.
The Willows, yeah.
The Willows. So this is our first ride along.
Nice.
And the Willows is an apartment complex here, but just for reference, we call it that. That was at one point
Yeah,
the
it's not
name.
called
I've been
that.
an officer for 18 years almost, and it stopped being called that before I became a police officer, but officially. But they just still refer to it as that.
Not an officer, lived here my whole life. It's still the Willows. Like it's just what people call it. So we get in the car, like we leave. And this is also important because like the very first call was a lady in green pajama pants
Oh yeah,
with a hospital bracelet on that was like walking through the street. It didn't make sense at the time, but like you just keep moving on. We go to a call of a lady down on the sidewalk. And by the way, it was hot. It was like
real hot.
it's like 110. Like it was, find her. She says there's vampires on the roof of this hotel eating babies.
Oh,
this,
nice.
this is the very first. I'm like, I don't, that doesn't seem right, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
That's why you don't invite them in. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's daytime out. Seems suspect already.
Daywalkers.
Yeah.
You seem very credible.
Yeah. So that call gets wrapped up. We go to the store, and I still remember this because you got a call from one of the officers on duty, and they were like, "Hey, we found this stolen truck, like over in the Willows. Like nobody's in it right now." And he's like, like they probably saw you. They're probably not coming back. So don't waste, time like sitting there all day. Like
I'm pretty sure that was me.
It might have been.
it might have been like this might be
Yeah.
a roll call that you were on. This would be also another full circle moment. We go in to get a drink, use the restroom, whatever. We come out, the call's like they have the stolen car now. Like they're like doing it. They've arresting a guy. So we go and we're standing there. This truck is full of belongings. Like
Yeah.
like to the brim. There's an officer, she's going through it.
Yep. That was me.
Somebody is patting somebody down at the back of the car. There's a gentleman playing a guitar. This is all in a 20-foot circle. Like it's all happening. And then as I'm like, what is going on?
It was just an ecosystem.
Yeah,
Like in the
it's-
very small.
Yeah, it's its own world. A guy walks up with like a giant, like 8-inch, like camping knife. And he's like, hey, I found this in the bushes. And Travis is like, hey, who's the guy with the knife? Like, let's maybe grab him. And I'm like, what is going on? And so I'm like, hey, do you realize like this is crazy?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't even notice it. Like, I didn't think of it. I'm like, all in this 20-foot circle at this apartment complex, all this stuff is happening. It's a real interesting world.
Yeah.
That dude came out. We waited there for like 10 minutes and
got him.
he just moseyed on, gets into the car, and I'm like, there he is. Let's run and grab him.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
And
full
that truck
circle.
was full of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then where do we go for that? Do you remember?
Maybe the machete.
Oh, that happened too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
Well, that's happened on every time I've gone. There's been
someone gets attacked.
someone
with a
gets
machete.
attacked with a machete.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was another interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rules are. Like, I'm just here for the ride. Like, I'm trying not to be in the way. Like, you guys are working.
I didn't lay any ground rules either. I just,
Yeah. There's no.
Oh.
just come around.
Yeah,
and
like-
hang out.
Yeah. So we're just riding around. We just happened to be pretty close. I think we were off of like Golden State.
Mhm.
And then the call was the Rio Murata,
Yeah.
guy with the machete. We pull up, like we're first on scene.
Nice.
Like absolutely. There's a guy on a bus bench. He's bleeding pretty good.
He's leaking.
He's not having a good time. Travis puts a tourniquet on him, like literally, like, you know, life-saving measures right now. Like
Yeah.
puts this guy in a tourniquet.
'Cause he got hit right here on the wrist. And
Yeah.
it was just,
Discussion.
oh yeah, everywhere.
Yeah. So he's all fixed up, and it's like, hey, where's the guy with the machete?
guy
Like
that hit
there's
you with the
always,
machete.
yeah. Oh, he's over there. So we start walking up to across the street. Like we cross the street, a guy comes out. He's like, I did it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, I did it. I was like, well, that was easy.
Yeah. We just followed the blood trail back to where he was.
Yeah, the guy ran around for a while before he decided to have a seat on the bench.
Not in a straight line either.
No, yes, he was confused.
So what'd you do with the guy who just came out and said I did it? You just
I know what he
handcuff
did.
No, somebody else hooked him up. Somebody else was there, I think, by
Oh.
that time. You know, it took a while for the tourniquet. But so then we're gonna go up to see, like, you know, where did this happen? We got to find it. It's, you know, it's getting
crime
easier
scene, yeah, you
to
gotta locate the
find.
crime scene.
And I still remember this. Like, so if you're familiar with the building, there's like,
Yes.
you know, like a courtyard, like a breezeway, and there's rooms on each side of the hall, and there's like that breezeway between. And I remember, like, we were walking up the stairs, and there was 4 people, but only 3 cops.
Mhm.
Not me. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm behind him, and so we're walking up, and I think like this is kind of over. And so we get to the corner. He makes the left because there's people like that were like yelling. We don't know what they're yelling about or whatever.
People are always yelling at the Rio
Yeah.
Murata.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah,
loud.
yeah, yeah.
But I hear the very distinct sound of like an ALS, like gun coming out of the holster. I'm like, I just stop.
You just hear holster noises.
Yeah, just holster noises. And I'm like, well, I'm not crossing this threshold
Yeah.
right here. And somebody, I don't remember. I wish I could remember who was behind me. He's like, I would have stopped too. I was like, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah. Wild. Like, this is in the first like 2 hours. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still daytime.
Yeah. Not the taco place isn't even open yet.
Yeah. No, this is just, we're killing time to get to the tacos,
Yeah.
and I'm getting the full experience.
Yeah. And then, well, but there's a couple more things because Green Pants comes around to come full circle.
Yeah. So go to various stuff that night. We do get tacos.
Yeah.
And we're driving literally back to the police station, and he's patrol sergeant. He's like, why are these guys? And he knows they're gang guys talking to this lady, you know, downtown in the middle of the road. So he parks to see like what we're going to do. We get out and we walk up, and I'm like, no way. It's the lady with green pajama pants. Like,
Oh shit.
so like there's a first call, and then we're literally like, we're probably on like 18th, 19th Street. Like, we're real close to getting back, and we stop, and it's the lady with green pajama pants. So that's, if we ever reference Full Circle,
It's like
Yeah.
a circle.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you don't take care of the problem the first time.
Yeah.
Becomes
Well,
a
we didn't find
repeat.
her the first time. It
Oh.
wasn't until the end of the night that
Yeah.
she got,
Just-
they got flagged down or something.
By
the,
well,
the gang unit guys.
she was in the middle of the road still,
Yeah.
just in a different location. So they got her fixed up.
Yeah, a couple of full circle moments. So there's that, and then a while later when we were talking about takeover culture, and there was a particular person that had been involved in some of these takeovers, and I remember showing you talking about the case and showing you some video from it, and then later on that night we came across that same guy where Nick had him stopped.
Yeah. I
That's-
found the guy who was part of a couple different street racing kind of events,
Yeah.
and then involved in a critical incident on the first one
Mm-hmm.
where we didn't end up catching that guy, but he was a catalyst.
Mm.
We chased some other car,
It led to a pursuit that led to
led to a critical incident.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about that.
yeah.
And then we get back a month later. I find the guy again,
Mhm.
and then his passenger had a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Took the passenger. He didn't have anything on him. He just had a suspended license.
Yeah.
Cited him for that. Impounded the
Impounded the
car. He gets the car back.
Yeah.
Like,
And I was telling him that whole story, the whole
Yeah.
backstory.
and I'll let you finish it.
Well, then we were driving around, and then Nick gets on the radio, and he had a crash. He was asking for medical aid, and so we drive over there, and the guy had the guy had crashed into this car and ended up killing these two young girls. And we get out, and I think you recognize it right away, right?
Well, because I think he had a big sticker on the back window or something.
Yeah,
like
it said
that.
Centenarios. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was
It's
like,
that's that same truck. Like we
Like,
were just talking about
yeah.
it, and then just watching the video of it.
You probably felt like it was like a setup. It was like you were just talking about this story an
Yeah.
hour ago, and then like here's this car.
well,
that I
I
had
mean, that's
found.
the ridiculousness of like what you guys do,
Yeah.
because you probably wouldn't notice it. Like, if I wasn't there, he would have just been like, oh, like we got that guy finally. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm like, wow, like what are the odds of this? And then of all the people to stop, like you, right? Like being there again like that. I mean, it's crazy. It's full circle.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Well, I mean, the street racing guys have been a pain for a good while, so we were just kind of on them because if you don't, they just kind of proliferate and keep doing it. So
They multiply.
it's weird you do this thing called enforcement, it tends to go away.
Tends to solve the problem.
Yeah.
What else? I was thinking you had some other ride-along stories. I don't remember.
Well, the other one that I reference frequently is the bar.
Oh, the bar.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's-
the particular bar that two of our gangs, our local Crip gangs, like to frequent.
Yeah. This is another ride along. This is separate from the first one.
This is why when we were leaving the as soon as we cleared briefing, we are getting in
Yeah.
the car to leave.
Yeah, we leave and he's kind of texting and driving with some purpose, right? This isn't just like a leisurely, like,
Stroll.
let's check the computer. Like, let's
Yeah.
see what's going on. It's like, and I was like, hey man, like, where are we going? Because I can tell.
He's just moving with the
Yeah, I'm like, I can tell we're going somewhere. And he's like, oh, there's this guy that we've been looking for 2 years. He's over at this bar. I have some guys around the corner. Like, we might go like try to make an arrest.
Because he was wanted for a shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I got to see the video of the shooting, and so that plays into the story. So we get there because I think we were driving there. He's like this is what he's wanted for, like, trying to educate me. Like he's
Yeah,
he's
give you a little
being a
bit.
good sarge.
A little bit of background on the investigation.
Yeah. So we get there, and like we have some guys around the corner. It's two guys, just two
Officers.
officers. Yeah. One I feel pretty confident with. I think he had a SWAT pin on.
Mhm.
I feel pretty good. I'm like, all right. The other guy was clearly new. Like I didn't even have to speak to him. I was like, it's new. It was literally like his second day.
Yeah.
I mean, like literally he's on.
He was in training.
Yeah, he's second day, and I'm like,
Was it Neil?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
yeah, yeah, it was Neil.
Oh yeah. Shout out Neil.
Shout out. Yeah, I think he was my neighbor.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, that's like, and then like, I don't remember who you guys were talking to. Like if it's like a CI on the phone or like, I don't remember how like this intel is coming in about, he's like going back and forth to the car. And then it's like, oh, he's with 3 juveniles, which is like a loose term. Like not like 10-year-olds, like they're in a bar.
Yeah.
And I've,
And for Crip culture, if you're like a 16-year-old, you're the one carrying the gun.
yeah,
You're the
it-
shooter.
Yeah, you're full fledged.
Yeah.
Those are the dangerous ones.
yeah, I'm familiar with the culture.
The 29-year-olds usually aren't that dangerous. It's the 16-year-olds you got to watch out for.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, that's 4, probably all armed. I'm just assuming, and there's 3 of us. Like that's not enough. So then another guy pulls up. Now I'm a little more happy because it's he's
Max.
not it's Max. He's not a small fella, and so I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this guy hits hands on, like he's good, because I'm watching. I'm just watching.
Mm.
But then I'm thinking like, oh, like, there's 4 dudes. Like we probably need, I don't know, 8 or 9 guys for this. Like that seems reasonable.
Mm.
They're like, somebody's like, he's going back to the car. Travis is like, hey, if he gets in the car and leaves, like that's the end of this. Like, we're probably not chasing him. Like we need to get him before he gets in the car. And then he just like, we're just standing there and he just goes, fuck it, let's go get him. Like that's literally the quote. And I'm like,
Nah, we're not gonna get him if he gets in the car. Gets in the car. Man, fuck it. Let's go get
yeah,
him.
well, he's not in the car.
He wasn't in the
yeah,
car
he,
yet.
he went back inside.
Oh, okay.
But I'm doing the math. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't count. Like there's 4
Yeah.
guys over there. Like somebody's getting away, or they're like, this is
Yeah.
gonna get sketchy.
Wait, so
so-
there's a guy and he was with how many people?
He had 3 youngsters with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so the response to that from Price was say less. And then Everybody just starts walking to the car, and I'm like, well, I guess I got to get in the car. Like I can't stay
Can't
here.
stay here. It's hot out.
Yeah, it's super hot, and then we have to go, and so we get in the car. Again, there's no ground rules. Like, what are you gonna do? All I know is I want to get out of the car when we get there. Like,
Yeah.
that's like every instinct in my body is like,
Don't stay in the car.
don't stay in the car. Like, I don't want to be in this car. Like, I feel like that's what's gonna get shot at. Like, I need to move and get out of this
That's
car.
pretty smart.
That's actually good.
Yeah.
instincts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like we're pulling up. It's like a Code 33 Channel 1, and I'm like, we're like,
code.
there should be like more people. There should be more people.
You should be planning this better.
Yeah. But it was weird because we pull up, or like before we even pull up, there's like somebody like pressure washing
There's
a
a car
car,
wash, yeah.
and we both thought the same thing.
There
Like
was
this
smoke
guy
coming out of the car.
crashed, or like there's smoke coming out of this car. But anyway, we end up pulling up. Everything worked out. Everybody got arrested that needed to be arrested.
Got him. Got the youngsters with their guns.
Yes.
That they did.
Oh, they
have
had
on them.
guns?
That
Yes.
they did. Yeah. Yeah.
He was
Don't
right.
worry. Don't worry.
All
about
of his, all of
Yeah.
his,
All of my concerns were valid.
assumptions were valid. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all true.
but it all worked.
See, someone once said that good luck doesn't equal good tactics.
Yeah. Don't mistake good luck for good tactics.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that's
But sometimes you just have to do with what you
But
have.
Also, sometimes you just got to send it.
That's true.
even with a civilian ride along. Sometimes you gotta.
You signed the waiver, sir.
It's true.
So, I mean, that's kind of on you at that point.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the only time where I was like, man, I don't know about
Just
this.
questioning my decision.
Yeah. Well, I always like to joke. I'm like, I feel like I get the full experience because like he's not really like concerned with my safety.
Yeah.
You know, or like I'm not going to file a complaint with the department or anything like that. Obviously.
He's like,
Um,
you signed the waiver.
Yeah.
You
So he's
do
just
what
like,
I
let's
do.
go. And I'll kind of lag behind like on calls, and he's like, get up.
You're
here."
not going to see anything back there.
Yeah. Well, but there's also times where you see ride along, like they're just sitting in the car, like they
Yeah.
won't even like get out.
That happens.
It's-
Nothing's going to happen in the car.
Yeah.
or everything bad's gonna happen in that car. Like get out of it if you're pulling up to a bar.
I only do that with ride-alongs who are like under 18,
Yeah.
or if it's like really, really crazy, like you're going to a house and like someone's shooting or something.
Well, you were an explorer, so you did ride-alongs as a kid, right?
Yeah.
What was that
That was
like?
back in. This is like 2008, 2009. Like,
Yeah.
I was 18 when I started doing ride-alongs, so I only did them on shift one, and they were just vehicle pursuits like every single time, and it was the best. I mean, that's the reason why I wanted to join.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
you were in
because of
pursuits all the
that.
time.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. We've been in some pursuits, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. The first one, we were going around a corner, and I mean, I think like even in the pursuit, I'm pretty calm. Like I'm not. I'm just like this. Like I'm making jokes. Like I'm pretty dry sometimes.
Yeah.
The first time we go around a corner, and I was thinking, I feel like we're going too fast for this corner. And we make the corner, and I was like, "Oh, this thing's all-wheel drive." Like, because like without all-wheel drive, like you're not making this corner probably.
Okay, yeah.
So we made that.
Were we in a Taurus?
I don't. Oh no,
Explorer.
I don't think was the Taurus all-wheel drive.
The Taurus. is
Yeah, so
all-wheel
we
drive.
were in the Taurus.
Yeah.
Like the little car, because then you got the
Got the
Explorer.
Explorer later,
Yeah.
The
Um,
Explorer's not all-wheel drive.
Oh, it is. I feel more comfortable taking the turns, and the Taurus
yeah,
is lower
yeah,
the ground.
that's
so
true.
It's
Yeah.
like, anyways, yeah.
Science.
I don't even remember how that pursuit ended or anything.
You just remember that turn, though.
I remember that
That turn,
turn.
you're like,
very
yo.
vividly. Yeah, I was like, because I think it was like the first time like we were going like fairly
Quick.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I say fairly quick, like we weren't doing like 130 or anything like that. It's just like normally you're used to driving on these streets like a normal
55.
person. Like, oh, this is probably
Maybe.
downtown. I think we were.
Mhm.
So you're
Okay.
doing like 25, 35. And we were probably going a little quicker than that. But like when you're trying to turn, like you're not waiting for, like the light was green, everything's like perfect. And he hooked the turn. And I was like, oh man, I don't.
Yeah,
And then
that
he
apex.
made it. Yeah.
Sure,
And I
yeah.
was like, all right, this car's all-wheel drive.
Yeah,
He's
straight
like,
line braking.
yeah,
a little
yeah.
high.
He's like,
Come on.
yeah, it's all-wheel drive. I was like, all right, that makes me feel a little better. Like we're not going to just loop out,
Yeah.
get smashed.
I think about right along. It's Anthony, my daughter's boyfriend. He became an officer later on, and when he was 19, he wanted to do a ride along, and he had asked about doing it when they first started dating, and I just kind of like fucked him off. I'm like, no, I can't take it. It's like COVID or real rules or whatever. And then they'd been dating for a few months. I was like, all right, if this seems like this is more serious, then okay, they can see how let him see how it is. And this was in 2020. It was during the not during the riots, but later on, and there was some riotous activity. They had the Iron Hogs motorcycle rally this week, this day or whatever. And after that event, there's like meetups afterwards, and there's always shootings at all these meetups. And so we like first call of the gate we went to was like an overdose. A guy died of overdose. And then like an hour later, we go to a 16-year-old kid who got in a fight with his dad and hung himself. Another death call. And then we go to a shooting related to the one of the after parties from the Iron Hogs event, and where this girl was killed. And then we ended up after there going to the taco place to get some tacos. And I'm talking to him, and I wasn't even thinking through it. Just reminds me of what you're saying about like
It's just normal.
perspective, right? And I was thinking, I was trying to get him to see some exciting events. Nothing had happened like in front of us. It was all, showing up in the aftermath of stuff. And I told him, man, I'm sorry. Usually it's a little bit more active. It's a little more busy than this. Like, so I was trying to, let you see something exciting. And he's like, got his tacos. And he looks at me and he's like, I never saw a dead body before today. And it's lunchtime and I've already seen 3 dead bodies.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
I was
See,
like,
never from going to 0 to 3.
I was
Three
like,
in one
yeah, I
day.
guess that is a little out of the ordinary, huh? And then while we're eating the tacos, a pursuit goes out right by us, so we had to ditch the tacos, and we ended up getting in the pursuit.
It's a damn shame ditching tacos like that.
So we ended up getting a pursuit, and then there was at MLK Park. There was another we were driving past there. I knew that it was going to be an after party event happening there, and I forgot. And I had been talking to him about it, and I got stuck in traffic on the street in front of it. And I was like, dang it, I should have went around the other way. I forgot that we're having this party. And as soon as we get past it, the gang unit's there, and a shooting happens while they're there, and they're on the radio coding off, and you can hear the shots being fired over the radio. So we turn around, we go back over there.
That's at
and,
MLK Park, right?
yeah.
That was after the Wayside Park shooting.
The Wayside was the one I was talking about. where
Yeah. I was stuck on the Wayside one for the whole day.
Yeah, so we go back to that one, and there's just chaos, and it's a shooting there. And while they're there, someone like hits one of the officers with their car, and like we ended up going up to the hospital where the victims were, and a bunch of the family members and friends had showed up to the hospital, and a full-on riot broke out in the parking lot of the
Yeah.
hospital. And I pull up as this is in the middle of it, and I park the car where I think I'm supposed to, and I get out, and I had to like run through the crowd to get to where the officers were. Well, I had left Anthony in the car back here on the opposite side of where the crowd was.
Yeah.
I was on the car for like a half hour before I finally got back to it. I was like, man, it was a wild time. Like I left him in the middle of this like hostile crowd. And I thought, well, he's either going to not want, because he was, anyways, the
He's
whole
like, I'm
point
never
is
gonna
he
be a
was
cop.
considering becoming a
Yeah.
police officer at this time. He was 19. And I was like, he's either going to like leave and never come back, or he's going to want to do
Hooked.
it. And he got hooked. He ended up going to the academy like a year later. And that's all she wrote.
After we left that lounge, I
Uh-huh.
mean, just talking about another chaotic.
Yeah.
There was a machete attack.
Oh, yeah. I don't even remember this one.
Yeah. See, again, it's just
just
normal.
all blur
Yeah, it
together,
all goes
man.
together. Excuse me. And the Rosedale Inn is where this happened. So we go to the Rosedale Inn. There's a guy that's been obviously attacked by something sharp. There was some concern whether the gentleman was going to pull through.
Oh, he took it in the neck.
Yeah.
That's right.
Jesus.
And we were sitting there kind of waiting, because like the scene's all,
Mm.
taped off. But that was after, I think. So first we had to go try and find the guy that did it. So we go upstairs because it's always on the second floor. I found there's nothing ever happens on the first floor. So we go upstairs, and it's you and another officer, and she's like trying to get the key, waiting. There's a dog barking, and I'm like, "Hey, man, like, you shoot the dog? Like, what's gonna happen?" Well, because like
You asked him.
yeah, it's just him. I'm asking him, and he's absolutely calm. Like his heart rate's like 55. He's like, no, man, the dog will be in the bathroom. And I'm like, what? Like, how do we know the dog's gonna be in the bathroom? Because like I had crazy dogs, right? I'm like, hey, like if that dog is anything like my dog, This is shots fired, 100%. Like we're gonna get ugly.
Yeah.
He's like, no, the dog will be in the bathroom, and I'm like, oh. And I still don't know if the guy is even in the room. Like I'm worried about the dog, but there's also like a guy with a machete potentially.
Mhm.
And then your phone rings because we're still waiting on these keys. Dog is barking. Lady's getting mad because like the keys aren't up here yet. And you get a call. It's Max again, and he's like, "Hey, do you guys want energy drinks?" You're like, "Yeah, man, that sounds good. Like we'll come grab those in a little bit." And then the door opens. Sure enough, dog's in the bathroom. Like nobody's in there. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, how do you know the dog was going to be in the bathroom?
That's where they put him.
That's what.
Yeah. Well, you guys know that. Like I'm like, why is the dog in the
Otherwise they're
bathroom?
gonna tear up the rest of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Put him in the bathroom.
some people have dogs that they can just leave in their house.
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
yeah.
People with houses.
Yeah. I was, yeah. I was like, how?
Apartments too. Apartments
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you live in a motel,
Yeah.
from motel to motel, then yeah,
You keep the dog in the
keep
bathroom
the
while
dog
you're
in the
gone.
bathroom.
Dogs in the bathroom.
that's the tweaker crate,
Yeah.
That's fair.
The kennel.
the kennel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
bathroom. Take the trash can out too.
That's right.
I think we also went trudging down the river bed for a minute on that.
Oh, because he might have took off into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
river.
That makes sense.
That
That's a
does-
whole nother culture down there too.
That's another country.
Mm-hmm. Did we get the energy drinks?
We did.
What'd you get? C4s?
No, I
Ghosts.
can't do
Ghosts?
Those. Usually you get the ghosts. I've been clean for like about a month or two.
Just energy drinks or caffeine?
Oh, energy drinks. Come on now. Get here.
You drink coffee.
Only about 2 pots a day.
So you drink coffee all day.
All day. Like until right before bed. Pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah. Shoot, what else?
How many ride-alongs do you think you've been on, just total?
5, 6. something
Yeah.
like
Something like, yeah. Probably like 4 or 5.
Yeah. And then you kind of, what would you say like your mindset and kind of viewpoint from like before you did any of these ride-alongs to like after doing like the last one you did?
So I like logistics and complex systems.
Uh-huh.
And just like seeing how it all works and pulls together. That's like even some of the more recent podcasts that you guys have done about like talking about like data,
Mhm.
or like when Bagby was on, and just seeing like how you guys are getting into that.
Yeah.
Because that's my whole
Thing.
world, right? Like it's just like looking at data, how this works, how this affects this, like and getting an accurate kind of like picture.
Yeah.
Like talk about like the outliers on like use of force or whatever you guys had. Like
Yeah.
that's step one, and there's like 14 layers below that, and just seeing how it all works. Like I mean, even from like getting gas in the patrol cars, and I'm like, how do you come up with like your guys's IDs, like Paul Robert whatever,
Mhm.
like, and there's like a whole system, like there's a system for every single thing that you guys do,
Mm.
and that's a lot of stuff. And then the job on top of that is also crazy, right? So you have all this kind of admin stuff that you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, by the way, I had to get into a fight with this gentleman that didn't
Mhm.
want to go somewhere. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot going on.
Yeah, that is crazy to think of. You go from doing like the most BS admin freaking paperwork, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
like 20 minutes later, you're like fighting a dude, a
Literally,
naked dude
like typing. Gotta
Yeah.
keep typing.
on a computer, like a good little worker.
Fighting
Oh.
a naked guy, yeah.
Yeah. Or getting spit on,
Mm.
getting poked with a needle.
Yeah.
That's just nasty.
And just like the volume like of calls too.
Mhm.
And I mean, we were talking about it a little before, like behavioral health, like mental health, that goes on.
Mhm.
And like you can just scroll through that MTT, and it's
There's a bunch.
yeah, it's
There's
hey,
one or two on the board.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
most of them. That I think like this is a violent town, like most people would agree, but
I wouldn't say violent. I would say active.
We got a lot of
Active.
violence.
I think we have a lot of violence. Yeah,
I was just trying to
Um,
be nice. Shit.
I mean, he
My
did 4 to 5 ride-alongs, and he went to 2 machete attacks.
Yeah. But yeah, I think also like just how much of it gets like blown out of proportion, because like you hear the call, like that gets dispatched out, and then when you get there,
Oh yeah.
it's nothing like that. So like if somebody was just listening, or like the streamers are like,
Mhm.
oh, this is going to be a
It's gonna
bad
be
call, and you get there and you're like, that's not nothing happened that was in
Yeah.
this call. Like, I don't know who called, I don't know who took
Yeah.
this call, but that's not anything like what had happened. That is also interesting. Like,
Yeah.
you think of this as a terrible town, like if you're just reading the news and all of that, but just go ride. Like, it's not that bad.
Mhm.
I mean, if you really like, if you do an entire shift, how many calls are you really like going to that are like a crime that would be like to make the news? It's very few.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you get on the Nextdoor app, the world's ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you listen to the calls, people, one of the things that happens is they know that if they want to get the police there for their minor incident, that they make it sound a little more heinous. You know,
Yeah.
oh, he's got a gun. And then all of a sudden, the police show up. Like, oh, no, I don't know what.
I didn't see a gun. He was acting like he had a gun though. Like, did he say he had a gun? No, but he, had his hands in his pockets
Yeah.
or his waistband. I hate that shit.
And well, I mean, it's just how you guys like you show up and you're kind of blind. I mean, you have like what the call says or like what the dispatcher said. But you can describe how somebody looks, but that's not necessarily
Yeah.
how they look when you get there. We went to that one call on Columbus in like they were fighting in the garage, or in like the resident of the apartment like pepper sprayed two guys that were like trying to break into his Chrysler 300 or something.
Mhm.
And then as we walked up, a guy hopped like off those patios. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like they have those little like patios, and just started walking. But he looked like he was crying, or I don't know what happened, but you were like, hey, cuff that guy up. And that ended up like being the guy.
Yeah.
But everybody was just kind of walking past him.
Yeah.
Because it looked like he was just watching all the cops roll up, because you could see him like when we got there, he was just like looking over like the little wall that's on their back patio that
Mhm.
separates it, from the sidewalk. And then he just like jumped over the fence, and I just assumed like,
It's just a regular
he's
visitor.
just like here to watch like whatever is happening out back.
That happens.
Yeah, and then sure enough, that's the guy. Like they brought the dude out, he ID'd him, and that was him.
What a dummy. Why didn't he leave?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he started walking like right at everybody. I mean, I stopped because I was like, what? Because he did. He looked like he was like emotional, kind of, and he was probably because he just got
Pepper spray?
bear sprayed. So yeah,
Don't
it
do
was,
Cause the
Maybe
tears.
he was going to come up and like, I want to charge that guy for pepper spraying
Yeah.
me.
No, I think he's just trying to walk off.
there was another one where I was so like just sure of something that did not happen. I think it might have been on Columbus too. A car drove into a house. Like remember the Jeep Cherokee that
Yeah.
drove into the house?
Yep.
And it's kind of like right where the road turns. Cherokee goes in. There's like an empty liquor bottle like in the lawn. Took out the mailbox, all this stuff. And I'm like, well, like this dude's clearly DUI. Like I'm no traffic investigator.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people there. There's like a girl crying, all this stuff. It's a hectic situation. He is asking this guy like, hey, was this intentional, or like, is this a traffic thing? Because if it's a traffic thing, like we need to get a traffic unit here.
Yeah.
If it's intentional, like we need to start asking like people questions. And the guy was like, I don't know. I'm going to go find out. Like, so he starts,
Oh, the officer. Yeah.
yeah, the officer. So like, I'm gonna go find out. So they start talking to people, and sure enough, like it was intentional.
Yeah.
So, and this is the way I
Legit.
recall it.
Mhm.
Uh,
Because
The-
he ended up going into the county after this.
yeah. So the girl that lived at the house was like outside doing something. This guy tried to attack her.
With the Jeep.
No.
Oh.
He runs after her as she's running into the front of the door. They've got their keys hanging on the wall. He sticks his arm in, grabs the Jeep key, goes out, gets in the Jeep, backs her on down, and then just sends it into the house.
Oh, shit.
So then he gets out and runs.
He runs southbound and he ends up into a little county pocket, and they chased him down there.
Yeah.
Some from the neighborhood did.
Yeah. Well, and I think they beat the brakes off of him,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So the neighbors, I think, caught up to him. But I was never so sure, just like pulling up to a scene. You're just like, yeah, I mean, I could see how the guy just probably like nodded off, drove straight into this house,
Yeah, or DUI or something.
and yeah, and took off. But no, it was like a big weird thing.
Much more than that.
Yeah.
So he sent the traffic unit on their way.
And he
Yeah.
10-8.
get him
Doug,
10
Doug showed up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you can go, man. This is a 245. This is an intentional act."
Patrol all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that was wild. Wild one.
Oh man, what do you think about? I was supposed to say, what do you think about the situation in Iran?
Is there anything going on in Iran? I haven't heard.
Well, I'm afraid so. Today's a Friday, 20th, so this will be up in 8 days. Maybe we won't even be here.
Should make predictions.
Maybe Iran won't even be there.
Yeah.
They said they were going to
Should
send
we-
some bunker busters. So,
Should we do predictions now and see if it comes true?
ooh, I mean, they said they were going to be flying some B-2s.
The bunker busters,
Hmm.
the 30,000-pound bombs.
That's what Asmongold said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
He's where I get all my
Yeah.
news.
it's pretty prophetic. Yeah. No, that's. I'll make a prediction. My prediction: Iran surrenders, but the Ayatollah keeps control, and the U.S. just kind of tells Israel, like, "Hey, their nuclear stuff is gone. You guys don't have to worry about that. Be good." We tell Ayatollah, like, "Hey, you don't have nukes anymore, but you still have your country," and then the U.S. will be like the intermediary peacekeeper.
Mm.
That's.
We're gonna tell Bibi Netanyahu, "Daddy, chill."
I think so. I think that's best case scenario for the world, because
Yeah, well, hope you're right.
World War III is probably not ideal either.
Yeah. Get into another Middle East conflict on the basis of
Why not? Everyone else is doing them.
destroy before. They've got weapons of mass destruction. They're on the verge of using them. We better go over them.
Yeah,
I thought I've heard
that
that
seems vaguely familiar to me.
somewhere.
There is a really good meme right now, AI generated, that's George Bush and Donald Trump like mixed together, like just a headshot.
Trying to think about any other right along situations.
I
Oh
have a
no,
que-
you wanted to talk about the
Yeah.
test.
Who, me? No, him.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, so you also, Jake, you were involved in some of our promotional process, and how'd that come about? What was it that you what was your involvement?
Yeah, so got asked to do it. I'd been doing some stuff with my work in the department, and basically asked like, "Hey, would you like to sit on this promotional board?" And I said, "Sure, love
So
to
like
do
our
it."
promotional boards, when it's sergeants and above, so sergeants, lieutenants, captains, AC, and chief, they'll bring in people that aren't in the police department world and law enforcement world. Will come out. They'll find sometimes entrepreneurs or business owners or people that work in other fields and similar positions. So yours is a director is similar to position to what like a lieutenant or a captain in a police department would
Yeah, I
be.
would say probably like captain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so anyways, you get asked to come out to sit on one of our boards to help with our promotion process.
Yeah, and it was an interesting process. Like, not much like it probably in like the public sector, and kind of how it works. And so I think there were 12 candidates or something on the list, and it's very regimented. Everybody, you have to ask this question the same way, same order, all of that. I mean, really fair. Like, don't discuss it. Everybody scores independently and all of that. But I just the differences in some of the answers and just how certain people would handle something was pretty surprising.
More than one way
honestly.
to skin a cat.
Yeah, or how many resources you use to skin the cat. Just different stuff. Like one of the questions. We can say the question, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
They're not going to reuse it.
Yeah. Like, you're in the chair. Like, if there's a barricaded suspect, like, what are you going to do? Like, what's your procedure? Like, what's happening? And I mean, literally every viable, like, different answer was given by different people. So like, basically it's like, hey, SWAT call out. We need to start like getting water and like supplies we're going to be out here for a while, like setting up to, my favorite was, he was just like, I mean, we've got enough guys on patrol. Like, there's probably some SWAT guys. Like, we can handle this. Like, we don't need to like initiate a call out just yet. And I was like, oh, that seems like, yeah. And then
light my hair on fire. I'm going to go running in there.
yeah. And then it was like, call everybody, like set up a media staging area. So it was very, very interesting. But I mean, the other thing too, like that was just one question, but Everybody that interviewed like was super squared away. I've told you that. Like I feel like the org that you guys work for is very professional, very squared away. That's another thing to answer your question about like what did you see from doing a ride along is you know you read the news and you see all this stuff, but like people should really go out and experience it because I think they'll see you guys are delivering like almost like a customer service experience. Like honestly, I know that sounds crazy, but you guys are usually very professional. You know what's going on. Like everybody handles it, and it's impressive. Like makes me happy because I live in the same community you guys do, and it's appreciated for sure.
Yeah, so a little different experience too, though, when you ride with a supervisor, because we don't get bogged down anywhere. So like a patrol officer will
True.
get, if they catch an arrest, then that's going to
They're
be
there. Yeah.
they're on that for the next 2 or 3 hours or whatever, depending on what it is. And with like transportation and report writing and all that, whereas like we just kind of have like um patrol ADD, like we go there, we get to see the whole
Yeah.
thing, and then it's like, all right, let's go to the next one, and then we jump in the car and we go to the next one.
It probably is a little more fun than
Yeah, a little more fun
standing in the
that way.
road for 4 hours
Yeah.
freezing.
That's true. You don't get stuck on traffic control.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, just how you guys handle situations and do it and how organized it is impressive to watch for sure. And can be fun. Like, I mean, that's the part that gets lost is like people should be able to have fun. I have fun at work. You guys should have fun at work. Have a good time still if you're going to be out there.
So then what happens next as a rater or whatever, for the promotion process? Like, what do you do? So you rate them on like, what is it that you're looking for, and like, how are you ranking
I don't
or
remember
scoring?
exactly like what the scoring was. It was, I think there was like 4 categories and you basically score them like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, whatever it was. And you all kind of score and then, you get together at the end and they total the scores up. Like we don't actually get to see it. It's all, like I had my scores, they had their scores and, it's pretty simple. Like I don't even get like the list or see how anybody does or anything after. It's completely, independent. You're just kind of there for the day and do the interviews and score them. And
Do you write the scores in pen or in pencil?
crayons.
I mean, I guess it's harder to erase than pencils.
No.
I ate my crayon, so
Yeah, I think we had pens. I think.
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just
Yeah,
messing
I know.
around.
I know. I'm like, I started thinking about it though because I don't think I brought a pen,
Yeah.
so I had to borrow one.
Okay.
They think they give it for you. I've sat on
Yeah.
the detective promotion board before, and they provide you like a notebook and a pencil, so you can take notes, and you can save them too. And we saved them so that we could debrief the person afterwards.
Yeah.
But we didn't. I never had anyone come to get the debrief, so I never provide any feedback to them. But yeah, so you take notes when they're giving their interview, also because you want to like, because
Because you'll
for us-
forget.
yeah, but we were doing them over like 3 days, I believe. So it's like, and you're not done with it until the 3rd day, I believe. And so it's like I'd like to take good notes so that I can still really remember what they were saying on day 1, like when I'm dealing with people on day 3. Kind of helps. And also it helps too to like it gives you a way to compare to this person to this person.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I guess I've also sat on new hire boards, and when you get all wide range that comes in there, because this is just anybody can. All you gotta do is pass the written test and pass the physical, and then they're there. So you get some super squared away people, and you get some people who are like, whoa, yeah, we definitely don't. We won't be hiring that one. So it's good to like keep notes and have so that you can have that range or whatever.
Yeah, it's the most notes I've ever taken
Mhm.
in my life. I'm kind of notorious at work for not taking notes,
Mhm.
but I was pretty locked in. I mean,
Yeah.
It's somebody's career,
Oh yeah.
obviously. So
Well, it's their career, but then also it's like, the good of the city, the good of the department, and the good of
100%.
like,
Yeah.
the community or whatever.
which I like to think is why I got asked. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, I'm born and raised here, raised a family here. Like I don't plan on leaving.
Well, yeah, you have a vested interest
yeah.
in making sure that the leadership of the police department that polices your
Yes, yeah.
community is the best that it can be.
Which is why I think it's probably a good process to have somebody from the community.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a fun experience. Interesting, like I said, especially because like if they're asking like a tactical like situation, and I'm not like a tactical guy. I'm like barricaded suspect. I'm like, I don't know what I would do.
Were there any officers on the board with you, or is it
Yeah.
all civilian? So you had a captain, I'm guessing?
A captain, and then I don't know what his rank was, but he
Okay.
retired like the very next day.
Yeah, he was a captain.
Yeah, so two
Okay.
captains.
Oh, okay. So then
And they're both
they're
retired now.
asking like the specific like police related questions. Do you remember what your questions were?
I don't.
Hmm.
Which is funny because I had to ask it 12 times and I took copious notes.
To
But
ask it
I'm
the
like
exact same
the
way.
exact same way in the same order to everybody. And they, I mean, they have HR in there.
Yeah, to
So
make
she
sure
was, yeah, she was
it's all
keeping us
up and up.
in line. And, but yeah, I don't remember what my question was. It was also made very clear that like lieutenant is kind of the rank where like you're now like admin, like management, like you're not,
They're not in the field at all.
yeah, you're not doing anything outside really,
Yeah, they're not in the field at all.
which I also thought was interesting too. Like when you make that decision, like I don't know when you guys make that decision, like you're like, okay, I'm done being kind of like a cop
Oh yeah.
and I want to be admin. Because a few of the guys was like, I think this guy could still be like a fine officer. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it wasn't like a bunch of, you know, like I'm getting close to retirement, like, you know, I'm 50.
Yeah.
Like there were some younger guys in there too. So
hmm
it was interesting.
It's just everybody has their different preferences. Like for me, I don't really have any interest in ever doing that position just because I would lose my mind sitting there at the desk.
Yeah, that's what you said about being a sergeant too. Remember?
Yeah.
What about when you're sergeant on the west side?
That's a little different animal over there. Not a lot, not nearly as busy, not a lot as they have different problems, I should say. It's every different section has its own thing, you know, that it focuses on. There's a lot less machete attacks
That's fair.
on the west side.
Yeah.
That's
But-
just statistically, right?
Yes,
Statistically,
it's
per thousand.
scientifically proven. Yeah,
1,000.
it's legit. Yeah, you don't have to. You save money on tourniquets. Yeah,
It's fair. I mean, I feel like you liked being a patrol sergeant though, if I had to guess.
yeah. I like working. It's the rewarding the way it works in the trajectory of your career. So you'll start in patrol, and then you'll usually end up working some specialized assignment or two or whatever, and you always come back to patrol. So it's like you kind of go off and you're doing this other thing that's not patrol for a while, and you'll come back. And so for me, like I worked in the gang unit, and I came back to patrol. Then I was a range master for a while. Then I came back to patrol, and then I went to VCAT for a while, and then I came back to patrol. So you always like come back, and so every time you go off to an assignment and then come back, you get like a new perspective. And then when you usually most sergeants they're detectives before they become sergeants. I didn't go that route. I went from senior officer to sergeant. But I was removed. I was at the academy as one of the RTOs teaching actually at Nick's Academy, and I did that for about a year before I promoted to sergeant and went back. So I was out of patrol for about a year, and then I came back as a sergeant. And one of the rewarding parts about being a patrol sergeant is like you get like these new people that you don't know, and like they're typically speaking they're like eager to get out there and like do stuff,
Right.
but they're high in eagerness, low in knowledge, low in like know-how,
Right.
and you get to kind of fill that gap for them. And like kind of your job is to put, at least the way I look at it, is to put bumpers in place, some guardrails in place, and then kind of encourage them forward.
Like let them know the dog's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the dog's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, encourage them to go out and to do stuff, and don't be too harsh on like simple, you know, mistakes of the mind. It's not that big of a deal. Like we can fix most things as long as you're not like intentionally like violating someone's rights or breaking the law. Like you're gonna mess up. I expect you to mess up. It's always tell the new guys like it's funny because I was when I promoted to sergeant, I was on a shift with another sergeant who had this list of his expectations that he would hand out. And it was a Word doc and it was 3 pages long.
Wow.
And he showed me, he's like, yeah, I'm going to hand out these expectations. And I was like, I didn't say anything. And I kind of thought it over later. And I thought, like, what would I do if I was a patrol officer and my sergeant gave me a 3-page long list of expectations? Like, I probably wouldn't even make it through halfway through the first page before I threw it in the trash. And you're reading through them and it's like we have a policy manual that's like 400 pages long. We have all of the penal codes and the health and safety codes and the vehicle codes. And it's just like, there's so much legislation. There's so many laws in the books, case law, like all of that exists. Like the sergeant doesn't need to remind you that like you have to wear your seatbelt when you're driving. right? Like that's in the policy manual.
Right.
And like, so like it's already been said and you've acknowledged that you've read this and that like, you know, the policy. And so like, I don't need to tell you like, you need to follow the policy because you've already signed saying that you're going to follow the policy. And I don't need to tell you like, you need to obey the law. Like it's all already said. So I think I don't give a long list of expectations. I give 2 expectations, which is don't be lazy and don't be a coward. And as long as you don't do those things, then like we can work with everything else. Like as long as you're not like hiding from work because you're lazy or hiding from work because you're afraid, then like I don't care. Like well, you're gonna fuck up, you're gonna make mistakes, and like we're gonna get through it, and then you'll learn how to not make that mistake anymore, and then you'll be a little bit better, and you'll be a little bit better. And yeah, I don't know. I think that not every patrol sergeant has that approach. Some of them are more liability conscious. Not that I'm not liability conscious or whatever, but I think some of them are more afraid of as the sergeant, you're in charge of the scene or in charge of whatever happens, and that's going to fall back on you. So that creates like an anxiety that like I'm not naturally an anxious person.
Yeah,
So
I think we kind of share that
yeah, so like
at work. I mean, it's what's interesting about police work, right? Is like I do stuff every day and make decisions, and usually it's not a liability thing, but it's dollars, a lot of dollars sometimes, and you just see people not necessarily want to make certain decisions because they're worried about having that accountability.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because you're making a decision in how, like, if this turns out bad, this is going to be bad on me, kind of
Right.
thing. And I don't know, like I said, so my mind doesn't work that way. My mind works best in like when things get real tense and like kind of sketchy. I feel like things kind of slow down in my head, and like it gets easy for me to kind of think through and just think, okay, this is the problem. These are the things that we're dealing with, and like these are some potential solutions that we can use to solve this problem. And then just like think about it analytically. And it's like when things get sketchy, like that's when it kind of slows down and like and that's where I feel the most kind of alive. It's kind of a sick addiction, I guess. And that's why I don't think I could ever be a lieutenant because there's 0 of that happens ever. You're just 100% in an administrative role. I mean, you'll have to listen when dumps like a critical incident or not a critical incident, but a pursuit or something's happening. You're listening for it on the radio, and you're ultimately in charge of the entire city and the whole jurisdiction. So it's your call to cancel things sometimes. There's a little bit of that, but you're not physically out there, and you're not. And a sergeant isn't physically doing a lot. You're directing mostly. I mean, you can kind of get in there a little bit. If you're in there too much, then you're going to be too close to be able to kind of manage the scene. But I like it because you're close enough to where you're near the work, but you're not, you're not physically doing the work, generally speaking. And but yeah, I really enjoy those things that get a little dicey. Like there's the bleeding machete wound. You got the guys possibly barricaded in this room, and like how are we going to solve this problem? Like how are we going to like fix this?
Right.
And yeah, it's like high level problem solving with dire physical consequences. But
do you think that's like part of like I know recruiting and finding guys is always like a hard thing, and girls, and who's new, who's not. Uh, Do you think the way like it's set up, like it incentivizes people to promote versus get really good at like patrol and doing those things? Like you want to be a senior, but you're still patrol. But as soon as people make senior, like I want to be a detective, I want to do that. Like, is that a thing?
some people have that attitude. But if you like, I don't know, I can speak for myself. So there are all the people that have that attitude that they're gonna, as soon as they're eligible to take a promotional test, I'm gonna take this test and I'm gonna try to get this promotion because they just, I don't want to ascribe motive, but like they're always trying to get to that next rank, regardless of if they're ready for it or if it's the right time or whatever. And I think kind of the opposite way. I kind of got kicked along the ranks by my spouse, my wife, saying like, because I got on the SWAT team pretty early, about 3.5 years. I was on the SWAT team, and I really just liked what I was doing. I was a gang unit officer, I was on the SWAT team, and like I didn't really have like a long-term plan set out. And then when I was my first time as an academy recruit training officer, I took the senior test, and I only took the test because I was a range master, and I loved that job, and I was just going to stay there as long as I could stay there. And then I got moved against my will to go be the academy recruit training officer, and then I didn't think I was going to get my range job back. So I was like, well, I might as well take this test now. And I didn't want to take the test when I was a range master because then I would promote and have to go back to patrol. I didn't want to leave that. So then I just did it, and then that's how I promoted to senior. And I was a senior for 6 years, and the incentive to promote for me was that when my wife got pregnant with our middle child, she basically was like, you need to grow up,
Fair enough.
which was a true
Yeah.
point. And like, I was a senior and I was on the SWAT team. And the way our SWAT team works is once you promote to sergeant, you're kind of an at-will employee and they can just toss you, back out to not being on the SWAT team anymore at any time. And I didn't want to get kicked off the team. So I was like, well, I just want to stay on the SWAT team. But then like, we had a baby on the way and it's like, hey, like you should be more focused on your career and like stop like just Peter panning your way around. So it's like, yeah, you're probably right. So then I tested and it's funny, I actually tested for detective and sergeant like 3 weeks apart from each other, a couple weeks apart from each other. And I didn't pass the detective test, but I
But you
passed the
passed the
sergeant
sergeant.
test. Yeah. And I came out last on that list. I was number 14 out of 14.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
That's all that matters.
A win's a win, right? And then, yeah, I promoted to patrol sergeant. And so I was had like 12 years on at that time when I promoted. And so kind of a younger sergeant, I think I was like, my mid 30s. And, you know, usually it takes a little longer to make it to that rank. And then I didn't have a background as a detective. And so there was a lot of kind of heartburn around like amongst my peers because people thinking that basically I did it too quick, and I didn't pay my dues and learn that
Right.
job and all that. And so I think some kind of like quiet in the shadows trash talking was going on a little bit to my face too, which I appreciate the directness. I had a guy jam me up one time with another sergeant. He's like, hey, and he had been saying basically that I should have been a detective. And he said directly to me, he's like, hey, don't you think you should have been a detective before you became a sergeant? And I said, like, yeah, I mean, that would have been beneficial for sure. But like, so it would have been beneficial for me to work in the traffic division. And I never did that, and like, it would have been beneficial for me to work like in all these other assignments that I never worked, but I never did. I don't think if you had to do every single thing that would be beneficial before you got there, you'd never make it. It's like there's always going to be gaps. And I said like, I just have to know enough to know how to like what a detective is going to want when they arrive on a call out. So this is a homicide scene. I have to be able to manage the scene and have enough information to pass this homicide investigation off to the detectives. I don't have to be like the world's best homicide detective.
Right.
Like that's their job. I just have to know the basics enough that they to set them up for when they take over and they take it. Um, and now, granted, would being a really good homicide detective be beneficial? Yeah, absolutely. But like, you know, there's other gaps. And I responded back to him because he promoted from officer to detective and then he became a sergeant. And I said, well, like, don't you think it would have been beneficial for you to be a senior
Senior.
officer?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, yeah, kind of. And being a senior officer is a lot closer to being a sergeant than being a detective is. Because a detective, you don't work with you work with other detectives, but you're kind of siloed in your own thing. You have your cases, your queue, and you're working your cases, and you have people that help you out with your cases, and you help people with their cases. But you're not managing people. You just have a peer group of other detectives. Whereas a senior officer is like two striper, like essentially a corporal. They're a rank between officer and sergeant, and they kind of manage the shift. And so they'll show up on scenes and they direct people, and they have to actually like lead and run the scene and run stuff. And so it's a lot closer to what a sergeant does than being a detective. So that was kind of my argument. It was that I had done. You're kind of like a baby sergeant before I became a sergeant. So. Yeah, there's benefits to being a detective, and I recommend. And I again gave it an honest effort to become one. I just didn't pass the test.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like you lose good patrol officers?
Oh yeah, I forgot that you had a
Yeah,
question.
because they
sort of
like they promote or like
Yeah.
want to promote. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the
Mhm.
incentive should be like to be a patrol officer.
To make
I'm
patrol
not
great again?
not trying to make patrol great again, but
Make
you know what I mean?
I
Like,
am.
yeah, yeah.
I think people should be proficient at patrol before they promote.
100%. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always happen. You're right.
Right, because you
There's-
can just be eligible to take the test and then
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you
so
pass it.
you have to have 3 years to become a senior officer, and you have to have 4 years to become a detective. And so you think like, well, 4 years is enough to get proficient. And I would agree. However, what will happen is if you get moved to another assignment that's outside of patrol, and then there's a gap in your experience, and then you
Right.
promote, and then you come back, and it's like this does happen sometimes where someone was a patrol for a year before they went somewhere to a specialized assignment, and then they promote to senior, and they come back, and now they're supervising a patrol shift, but they only have like 1 year of patrol experience. That can't happen. And that does.
Right. You could literally have somebody on patrol that has more experience on patrol than the sergeant.
Oh yeah.
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 That's interesting.
Yeah. That does happen as well.
That's what I mean about all these complex systems. Like it's so much like to organize, like even just a shift.
Mhm.
Like, do you guys clock in and out? How does that work?
No.
That's
You-
like, I know that sounds silly, but people probably want to know. Like,
yeah. Like do you
like,
punch
do you
your
have
time
like,
card?
yeah, like, do you clock in on your
The
computer?
sergeants
Like,
take roll.
Yeah, so
at
the way it
briefing.
works is you log on your computer, and then we have a briefing that's at the start of the shift, and the sergeants take a roll. They make sure everybody's there, and if somebody's not there, then they figure out what it is. But so the sergeant, you'll come in, you'll check our uh,
Telestaff.
Telestaff is what it's called. It's our payroll system. You'll say who's off for that day, and usually you know coming into it like days before, and then you have a schedule and you check and make sure the schedule matches who's off for that day, and so then you know who's going to be there, and then you go into the briefing, and like if someone's in training, it's marked if they're sick, if they took a vacation, whatever, and so you get to briefing and you have your roster, and you just look around the room, make sure everybody's there. Okay, cool, and then if somebody's not there, you figure it out.
Interesting.
So there's no clocking in, but it's logged. I mean, everything we do is freaking
Yeah.
logged, like under a tight microscope. So if you wanted to know where someone was, there's like 3 different monitoring systems. You know,
Right.
they're carrying a department issued phone that's trackable. They're running a
GPS in the
department
car.
computer that's got GPS in it. The car's got a GPS in it, so you know where they were and you know when they logged on,
Yeah.
and you know every keystroke that you know like what they were doing.
Right.
Like it's not hard to trace. If
Yeah.
there was ever a question of like, was he really at work? Like it's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's in because, you know, I have a boring office job, right? It's like
Yeah.
everybody comes in, it's 8 o'clock,
Mhm.
you know, everybody leaves at 5, and that's just the way it is. Like, there's no like, we have to have a certain amount of people,
Yeah.
you know, here for this day. So Nick is sick. We got to get somebody to like fill his shift. Like, there's not really, it doesn't exist in my world. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a thing. Like, my only expectation is like, if you're here before me, you're on time. Like,
Yeah.
because I'm kind of I'm like an 8:10
Yeah.
kind of guy. I
Yeah.
go to I stop at Starbucks every morning, and you know,
Well,
I'm like an
I-
8:10 kind of guy.
It's funny you say that. I always walk into the briefing room. I time it up. I'll go 2 minutes after the start of the shift because like
Just give them a little
give
grace
them a
period.
little grace period,
period.
Like so, yeah, it's same kind of
Yeah.
same thing. If you're here before me, then you're on time.
Yeah.
and I'm there. I usually get there 30 minutes early, but I won't walk into the briefing room until like 2 minutes after. So that if somebody's running a minute late, like okay, it happens.
you're still good.
Yeah, it
The
happens.
1 minute was not
It was
life
wasn't-
altering.
Yeah, it wasn't life altering, and as long as it's not like all the time, like a persistent,
Yeah.
like whatever, it happens. We have lives. Try to sweat the small things,
Yeah. What you don't want is someone speeding to get to briefing on time.
Yeah, you don't want
Yeah. Don't want that.
Because you'll get an alert.
that. Yeah. Well, depends on how fast you're speeding.
There's a threshold. Yeah.
Yes.
There's a threshold. Or like people calling and being like, "Hey, this cop just drove by me
Yeah.
super fast."
Yeah.
What's going on in the city?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just figure it out. Interesting.
Yeah.
What was I going to say about that? Oh, and then how it works at the end. You don't clock out either at the end of the shift. So some shifts, they just kind of leave when they're done. You know that like you're working, say you get off at 11 p.m., at 11 p.m. you're going to take off and go home. If you have like a report or something that's going to hold you over late, then you do that and then you go home when you're done. What we would always do is we would
Debrief.
debrief. But so some supervisors make their shift all come back in, all come together, and then like make see everybody's there, and then they do like a formal debrief. And we never did like a formal.
It sounds awful.
Yeah, the way it started is I would just go over by the gas pump because you have to get gas before you leave, and I would just kind of hang out by the gas pump, and then people would get their gas, and then they would just kind of come out, and we would stand there and talk for 10 minutes or so, and we always just call it the gas pump debrief.
Yeah.
And then it's not an official thing, and we're not even discussing any specific topics. People talk about calling.
Unless someone did something dumb or funny.
Yeah, dumb or funny, and we'll point that out and make fun of them for it.
So you could be up on the hill at the end of your shift and then have to drive all the way back to put gas in your car.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to put gas in your car.
Well, technically, the policy says you have to gas before you leave. You're not supposed to get gas when you arrive. You're supposed to get it
When you leave.
when you leave. So
Yeah.
technically, yes. I mean, like that's the other thing is like if you have a take home car and you're out on a call and you don't finish that call till like 15 minutes before the shift ends, like I
Or
don't-
after.
or after. Like I don't expect you to come back, especially
Right.
if it's after the shift ends. Like unless I got held over on something, I'm not going to be there. So like, but yeah, if it's like 15 minutes before the end of the shift and you're just finishing this up, like I don't like, or like right at the time that the shift is ending. If you just call and say like, "Hey, I'm on this call. I'll be, going home from here."
Yeah. It was just, I was making a long winded joke about let them run the cars
Oh yeah, yeah,
from a previous episode.
yeah. I run the cars.
Just let them run the cars. It's hot.
It is hot.
It is hot.
It is hot. I listen to that.
Slowness.
Yeah. It's hot just wearing jeans and a polo, not a vest. Like, I mean, once you start sweating, you guys are just wet
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
you
like,
don't- you never
for
dry
like,
off.
for like 10 hours. Like, you're
Yeah,
just
you don't dry
wet.
off unless you have an external vest. You can take that off. I don't
Yeah.
have one of those.
Those are kind of new, right? Like,
Yeah,
I see everybody like
Nick's running one.
Yeah. I got one
Save the
pretty
back,
early.
yeah.
And I took that thing off every chance I got.
Yeah, that's actually handy. You take it off like you're going to write a report and kind of dry out a little bit. But I never had one, so yeah. So to your point, you get wet and then you're sweating the whole time, or even if you're not actively sweating, it's even worse. It's like cold, wet sweat
yeah,
that's just on you.
good times.
Yeah, let them run the cars.
Let them run the cars.
It's funny. It's again within reason. I can
Within
understand.
reason.
Like if the car's just going to sit there for 3 hours, yeah, maybe it doesn't need to run. Like maybe, hey, 15 minutes before you're going to get in it, fire that bad boy up. I can get on board with that.
Remote start.
There you go.
That's what you guys need.
I think they have that.
Do that.
You just have to like hook up to it, like the whole like Ford app
App,
and do
yeah.
all this stuff. And I'm just not into like hooking up my personal phone to
Oh yeah,
the whole patrol car.
yeah.
They won't let you download it on
No, you can. I'm just not
Your
into
work
it.
phone?
Because like the way they communicates too much.
Hmm.
Stuff gets
You
saved.
don't,
Yeah.
you don't
You
trust
know.
big government. That's what I'm hearing.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm against Big Brother.
I don't even have a work phone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. I have one, but I don't know the number to it.
Yeah. I get,
Oh, you don't need it to like log into your computer?
Yeah, I plug it in and charge it up, and then I use it for a hotspot for my computer
Oh, okay.
if I'm away from work.
Oh, but you don't need the authenticator.
No.
Oh, do you still have a key fob? Or you don't even have an MDT anymore?
No, I don't
Like the
have
tough
I
book?
got laptops. I don't
Oh.
need an authenticator,
Or-
but yeah, I don't even know the number. I just use it for a hotspot, and then when it dies, it just sits in my bag, and then when my hotspot's not working, I was like, oh, you
phone's dead.
can plug it in.
happens.
I don't even know the phone number to it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jake, thank you for coming out and talking to us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Heck yeah. Thank you everyone for listening, and stay frosty.